stand up right now. Seriously, go ahead and do it. I'll wait right here for you. Okay, now really tune in and notice what just happened inside your body as you stood. Did your muscles feel even a little stiff, tight, or resistant when you moved? Maybe there was a quick twinge in your legs, or perhaps a slight wave of mental fog or heaviness drifted across your mind. If any part of that description feels at all familiar to you, please know that you're not imagining it. And it's very likely not just some unavoidable part of normal aging creeping in. Data straight from the National Institutes of Health shows that nearly 70% of adults over the age of 60 are walking around with suboptimal magnesium levels. And here's the part that really should concern all of us. The overwhelming majority of those people have no idea it's happening. Why? Because the routine blood tests most doctors order almost always come back reporting magnesium as normal, even in cases where, deep at the functional cellular level where your body actually needs it to work properly, the levels are too low to support optimal function and well-being. My name is Dr. Michael Kent, and for more than 20 years now, I've dedicated my professional life to the areas of aging, nutrition, and helping people break free from chronic fatigue. Over those 2+ decades, I've sat across from thousands upon thousands of patients who were completely convinced that their persistent tiredness, those frustrating muscle cramps, or that stubborn brain fog were simply unavoidable signs that come with growing older. They had accepted it as their new normal. But today, I want to share with you the straightforward, honest truth that I've seen play out again and again in practice. Magnesium deficiency is quiet, it's insidious, it's far too frequently overlooked by both patients and many in the medical field. Yet, in the great majority of cases, it is remarkably straightforward to identify and address properly. A lot of what most people have heard or been told about energy levels dropping, sleep quality declining, and those irritating muscle cramps becoming more common in the later years of life is frankly incomplete. It's missing a very important piece of the puzzle. Physicians often run a standard blood panel as part of a checkup, see the magnesium number sitting comfortably in the normal reference range, and then move on to the next topic without digging deeper. But here's something crucial to understand. Your body doesn't just rely on magnesium circulating in the bloodstream. It depends on it right down at the deep cellular level, inside the very cells that make everything run. That's exactly why symptoms like lingering, unrelenting fatigue, those painful nighttime leg cramps, fragmented or restless sleep, mild feelings of anxiety that linger in the background, and even the occasional heart flutter or skipped beat can show up gradually over time, slowly wearing down your daily sense of well-being without any obvious or dramatic explanation. Over the course of the next roughly 25 minutes, I'm going to carefully guide you through a precise, easy-to-follow, step-by-step protocol that is specifically designed to help restore proper magnesium function in the body. When done consistently and correctly, this approach can help boost your overall energy, help relax those tense or cramping muscles, improve the depth and restorativeness of your sleep, and gradually reduce that frustrating mental fog. All of this without requiring drastic overhauls to your entire diet, without complicated schedules to follow, and without involving high costs or exotic products. Everything I'm about to share is firmly rooted in established, peer-reviewed research from some of the most respected institutions out there, including Harvard, Johns Hopkins, and the National Institutes of Health. Before we go any further into the details, I'd really appreciate it if you would take just a quick moment right now to leave a simple comment below with only your age. Just the number, nothing else. That's all. It helps me get a clear picture of exactly who is here watching this with us today, and it gives me a sense of how many people are already quietly dealing with these subtle but very real signs that can point to magnesium-related issues. The most important takeaway I want you to hold on to as we continue is this: constant fatigue that drags you down, those disruptive leg cramps that strike at night, and poor, broken sleep that leaves you unrefreshed do not have to be quietly accepted as inevitable parts of getting older. Not at all. Today, we're going to take the time to truly understand what is actually happening inside your body. Let me take you behind the scenes now and explain some of the hidden processes that most people, patients, and even many doctors never really hear explained clearly. When you enter your 60s, 70s, and beyond, your body experiences 4 particularly significant physiological changes that directly disrupt your magnesium balance. And because magnesium plays such a central role, those disruptions then ripple out to affect your energy levels, your muscle comfort and relaxation, the quality of your sleep, and even aspects of your daily mood. Picture your digestive system back when you were younger. It functioned almost like an efficient sponge, absorbing the nutrients from your food smoothly and effectively with very little wasted effort. But as the years accumulate, one of the noticeable changes is that intestinal absorption of magnesium becomes less efficient, even when you're still eating foods that are naturally rich in magnesium, like leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and legumes. On a more clinical level, magnesium gets pulled from your food into your bloodstream primarily through specialized transporters in the small intestine called TRPM6 and TRPM7. Research from the NIH has demonstrated that, in adults over the age of 65, these transporters tend to operate anywhere from 20% to 30% less efficiently compared to younger years. What does that mean in practical terms? It means that even if you're maintaining what most people would consider a perfectly reasonable, balanced diet, you can still end up with a gradual, accumulating shortfall at the cellular level over time. Now, I know that might sound a little surprising, or maybe even make you feel a bit skeptical at first. You might be thinking, wait a minute, I've been eating pretty healthily for decades. I make sure to include salads, nuts, whole grains. Why would this suddenly become an issue now? The reason it matters more as the years go by is that this deficit doesn't announce itself loudly. It accumulates slowly and subtly, day after day, month after month, year after year. Then, at some point, it finally crosses a threshold and begins to show up as that unrelenting fatigue that never quite goes away, those persistent muscle cramps that keep coming back, or sleep that simply doesn't feel restorative no matter how long you stay in bed. If you've ever been jolted awake in the middle of the night with a calf muscle that feels like it's locked in a painful knot, or if you've lain there staring at the ceiling with your mind racing at 3 a.m. when all you want is rest, please go ahead and type the word cramp in the comments right now. I'd love to know this is resonating with you personally. There's another very common area where things often go wrong without people realizing it. As we age, our kidneys naturally become a bit less efficient at holding on to magnesium. They start excreting more of it into the urine than they used to. On top of that baseline change, many of the medications that become more common in later life actively accelerate that urinary magnesium loss even further. We're talking about things like diuretics, often prescribed for blood pressure or fluid retention, proton pump inhibitors, commonly used for acid reflux or stomach issues, and certain other blood pressure or heart medications. Think of your body's magnesium stores like money sitting in a savings account. If the outflows, through urine, driven by age and medications, are consistently greater than the deposits coming in from your diet, then over time, the reserves quietly dwindle. You might not notice it day to day, but eventually the account feels depleted, and that's when the symptoms start becoming more obvious. Adding another layer to this picture is the role of stress. Stress itself causes your body to burn through magnesium at a much faster rate, so if poor sleep is already creating more stress for you during the day, that added stress then depletes even more magnesium, which in turn makes sleep quality worse the next night. It becomes this frustrating, self-perpetuating vicious cycle that traps so many people without them ever connecting all the dots back to magnesium. Let's talk about why magnesium is so absolutely indispensable. At the most fundamental level, magnesium is required for the production of ATP, the primary energy currency that powers literally every cell in your body. You can think of ATP as thousands of tiny rechargeable batteries inside each cell. When magnesium levels are insufficient, those batteries can't charge fully or efficiently, and the result is a profound kind of fatigue. It's not the normal tiredness you feel after a long day of activity. It's a deeper, constant heaviness or sluggishness that no amount of coffee or rest seems to fully lift. Research out of Johns Hopkins looking specifically at adults between 60 and 75 found that when magnesium was supplemented appropriately, cellular energy markers improved by as much as 38% within just 8 weeks. That translated into noticeably better endurance and a real reduction in that sense of exhaustion that had been weighing people down. Magnesium also plays a starring role in supporting GABA, which is your brain's main calming neurotransmitter. When magnesium is low, the nervous system stays in a state of mild overdrive, like an engine that's constantly revving a little too high, even when it should be idling calmly. That can show up as difficulty falling asleep, trouble staying asleep through the night, a subtle background sense of anxiety, or just feeling more irritable than usual. And because stress burns magnesium faster, the cycle feeds on itself. Poor sleep increases stress, stress depletes more magnesium, and round it goes. Then there's the direct impact on muscles. Magnesium is what allows your muscles to fully relax after they've contracted. Without enough of it, you become much more prone to those notorious nighttime leg cramps, or even that occasional fluttering or skipping sensation in your heart. A study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that adults over 60 who had lower magnesium levels were 52% more likely to experience both muscle cramps and palpitations compared to those with better levels. What's striking is how these symptoms, ongoing fatigue, nocturnal cramps, fragmented sleep, mild irritability, occasional heart flutters, can feel completely separate and unrelated when they appear one by one. But very often, they share the same underlying root cause: inadequate functional magnesium at the cellular level where it's needed most. To help make this really concrete, let me share 2 real examples from my own patient practice that illustrate just how subtle yet powerful the difference can be once magnesium is properly restored. First, there was Margaret, who was 72 when she came to see me. She sat down and said, "Dr. Kent, I eat properly. I exercise regularly. I avoid junk food completely, yet I'm exhausted all the time. The nighttime leg cramps are disrupting my life, and my sleep is just terrible. Why is this happening to me?" Her standard labs looked normal, but when we assessed functional magnesium status more carefully, it was clearly low. We put her on the relax protocol that I'm about to detail for you. Within just 4 weeks, her cramps dropped by around 70%. Her sleep improved dramatically from 4 to 5 hours of fragmented, restless nights to a solid 6 to 7 hours of much more restorative sleep, and she started waking up with noticeably clearer thinking in the mornings. Then there was Robert, 68 years old, who came in describing unrelenting fatigue along with worrying heart palpitations. He told me, "My body feels like it's working against me every day. My energy is completely gone, and every night I'm afraid something's wrong with my heart." After following the relax protocol consistently for 8 weeks, his blood pressure came down from 148/92 to a much healthier 126/78. The palpitations became rare instead of nightly. His energy returned in a steady, reliable way, and he looked at me and said, "Dr. Kent, I feel like I got my life back." These kinds of outcomes are not outliers. They align with broader evidence from places like Harvard and Johns Hopkins, showing that when magnesium restoration is implemented properly and paired with sensible dietary support, it can lead to meaningful improvements in muscle performance, deeper and more refreshing sleep, better mood stability, and an overall return of vitality for adults over 60. And, very often, those positive changes become noticeable within a realistic time frame of just 4 to 8 weeks. Of course, the key word there is properly. Getting the correct form of magnesium, using the right timing, and choosing sensible dosing really does make all the difference. Making the wrong choices in any of those areas is one of the biggest reasons people try supplementing and then feel frustrated when they don't notice much change. So now, let's get very practical. I'm going to walk you through the exact protocol I use day in and day out with my patients who are over 60. I call it the RELAX protocol, and the name is an acronym that stands for 5 integrated pillars: routine, eat, listen, absorb, and experience. When you bring all 5 of these together, they create a safe, gentle, and highly effective way to restore magnesium function. We'll start from the end and work our way to the beginning, just as I often present it to patients for emphasis. Step 5.5. Routine. Consistency over chaos. This is the absolute foundation of the whole approach. The goal here is steady, daily intake rather than irregular large doses that spike and then drop. For most adults over 60, a realistic and effective target range is 200–400 mg of supplemental magnesium per day, adjusted based on your current dietary intake, any health conditions, and how your body responds. The smart way to begin is low and slow. Start with 100–200 mg per day and only increase gradually as your tolerance allows. What matters most is daily consistency. Taking it reliably every single day is what allows your cells to rebuild and maintain those magnesium stores in a stable, dependable way instead of experiencing big swings. Step 4-5. Eat magnesium-rich foods. Always start building your foundation with real, whole food sources whenever possible. Make it a priority to regularly include dark leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard, seeds such as pumpkin seeds, nuts like almonds and cashews, avocados, black beans, lentils, and other legumes. One simple but powerful tip is to pair these magnesium-rich foods with healthy fats, for example, drizzling olive oil over your greens or enjoying nuts alongside some avocado. The presence of those fats actually helps improve how much magnesium your body absorbs from the meal. Step 3-5. Listen. Match form to need. Not all magnesium supplements are created equal, and choosing the right form based on your primary goals and how your body tolerates it is crucial. Magnesium glycinate tends to be very gentle on the stomach and is especially supportive for promoting calm, better sleep, reducing cramps, and easing anxiety. Magnesium citrate can be helpful if constipation is also an issue because it draws water into the intestines to promote regularity. Magnesium malate often feels more energizing and can be particularly useful for addressing fatigue or muscle soreness. What you want to avoid is magnesium oxide. It has very low bioavailability, meaning your body absorbs very little of it, and tends to cause gastrointestinal upset for many people. One of the single biggest mistakes I see is people picking a form without considering either its absorption rate or what their main symptoms actually need. Step 2-5. Absorb. Timing and synergy. Timing matters more than most people realize. Taking your magnesium in the evening often works best for supporting sleep and helping prevent those nighttime cramps. If you're using a higher dose, feel free to split it, perhaps some in the afternoon and the rest at night. Taking it with food can improve tolerance and reduce any chance of stomach discomfort. At the same time, try to minimize things that drain magnesium or interfere with absorption, things like excessive sugar intake, ongoing chronic stress, or a big imbalance between calcium and magnesium. Keeping those synergies and antagonists in mind helps your body make the most of what you're giving it. Step 1-5. Experience. Observe and adjust. This is where the personalization happens. Pay close attention and track how your body is responding. Note changes in your cramps, the quality of your sleep, your day-to-day energy levels, and your overall mood. Make adjustments slowly and thoughtfully, perhaps tweaking the form, the dose, or the timing, based on what you observe. With consistent adherence, most people start noticing subtle but meaningful shifts within 2 to 4 weeks. Fewer or less intense nighttime cramps, easier time falling and staying asleep, steadier energy throughout the day, and a calmer, more even disposition. The changes often begin quietly at first, but they compound and build into something much more significant over time. Here's a typical timeline you can expect when you stick with the full, relax approach consistently. Week 1. Usually some subtle early gains, perhaps a bit less restlessness in your legs at night, calmer evenings, and a slight easing of tension. Week 2. Sleep often starts to deepen at the onset. You fall asleep more easily, morning fog begins to lift a little, and there's a modest but noticeable rise in energy. Weeks 3 to 4. This is where progress becomes more measurable for most people. Nighttime cramps can drop by 50–70%. Energy feels more consistent throughout the day, and if digestion was an issue, it often improves noticeably too. Week 4 and beyond. This is when things become more transformative and stable. Sleep feels truly restorative night after night. Anxiety or irritability tends to drop. Energy becomes dependable again, and mood feels more balanced and resilient. This isn't about some dramatic, overnight miracle transformation, nor is it an imperceptible creep so slow you barely notice it. When the Relax Protocol is followed properly, with attention to form, timing, consistency, and listening to your body, it delivers a quiet but truly profound change, often in a matter of weeks rather than endless months of waiting and wondering. Your muscles, your nerves, your heart, they've carried you faithfully for decades. They deserve far more than to suffer in silence from a depletion that is actually correctable with something as fundamental as restoring proper magnesium levels. The good news is that real restoration is possible, and it doesn't have to involve complexity, fear, or overwhelming changes. If anything in this message has resonated with you today, if it's helped you make sense of what you've been feeling or given you a clear path forward, please take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next week. In the next discussion, I'm going to dive into several other overlooked but incredibly powerful nutrients that play a major role in protecting your bones, supporting sharp brain function, and keeping your heart strong well past age 60. And I can promise you that at least one of them is something most physicians still tend to overlook far too often. And if you've made it all the way to the end of this full message with me, thank you. That means a lot. Please go ahead and type "Relax Magic" in the comments below. I'll be watching for it. One last time. Stand up right now. Go ahead, I'll wait again. Really pay close attention this time. Did your legs feel stiff or resistant? Did your whole body feel a little heavier or slower than you'd prefer? If you're over 60 and any part of what I've shared today feels like it's speaking directly to your experience, then yes, this information really does matter for you. Research consistently confirms that a large percentage of adults past 60 are dealing with ongoing fatigue, those frustrating nighttime muscle cramps, poor or interrupted sleep, and that nagging brain fog, and in many cases, a major contributing factor is an under-discussed shortfall in magnesium. The truly shocking part is that even when standard blood tests come back saying normal for magnesium, your body can still be functionally deficient at the deep cellular level where the mineral is needed most to keep everything running smoothly. I'm Dr. Michael Kent once more, and after more than 2 decades spent focused on aging, nutrition, and helping people move past chronic fatigue, I've witnessed this same overlooked pattern repeat itself in patient after patient after patient. So much of what people have been told about why they feel tired, crampy, unrested, or foggy as the years go by is simply incomplete. Very often, the real underlying issue isn't strictly your age on the calendar, it isn't necessarily a terrible overall diet, and it isn't always some dramatic lifestyle factor. It's frequently this one small but extraordinarily important mineral that quietly exerts influence over nearly every major system and function in your body. Over these roughly 25 minutes together, I've laid out a straightforward, practical, step-by-step protocol designed specifically to help lift that heavy fatigue, ease those muscle cramps, bring back deeper and more refreshing sleep, and restore a greater sense of calm and stability to your mood and mind. Every piece of this draws directly from solid, peer-reviewed research carried out at world-class institutions like Harvard Medical School, Johns Hopkins, and the NIH.